Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel DB Designs and Sewing Australia. I'm Deb and welcome or welcome back. What I'm wearing today is the Itch to Stitch Quebec skirt in a stretch denim. It's actually a great skirt and it's really comfortable. And the top I'm wearing is the Rhapsody blouse in a Lady McElroy cotton lawn. And the pattern's called Culture in Style. It's not usually a colour that I wear, but I just love this fabric so much, that's why I bought it. I'm going to do a catch up now with the Nova Coach by Paper Cut Patterns and let you know where we're up to. Last time I'd only just cut it out. Now I have actually stitched together the upper and the lower front. So looks quite odd. And I did follow the instructions very carefully, and it now actually looks like the coat's going to look. So it's not pressed yet, so we can see that that is the front and that is going to be the pocket. Now the instructions say to clip the curves and to clip into this corner. I'm just going to clip into this corner and into this corner of the pocket, and this seam here has quite a curve on it, so I'm going to clip that so I can press it open and make it lie flat. Now you press all of the seams open except the actual pockets because they need to lie flat and in a downwards motion. Just going to clip this one a little bit too. And then I'll be using my point turner pressing tool clapper and an organza cloth. Now using organza, even though you can see through it, the idea is you can see through it, but organza doesn't burn with heat. So you can always use organza as a pressing cloth. This is just a piece of an offcut that I bought from someone, because organza is not a cheap item. So I've pressed that seam open, mostly, except for that bit. Now I'm just going to flip it over and press it open again, making sure it is completely open. And now, while that's still got a lot of heat in it, you just actually press down on it with the wooden part of your clapper. And that gives a really good finish to your seam and makes it much crisper. Now to do the curved one, I'm going to use a ham. So I always use a ham on curved seams, on bust darts, on anything like that. Always use a ham to press with. Even sometimes when I'm just doing ironing, I'll use a ham to press things. Wool is really great because you can get to manually manipulate it with your fingers, with your hands, and if you pressed in a, just say for instance you had a straight collar and you wanted to make it a bit more of a curved collar, if you kept on pressing in the same motion, you would eventually make that fabric into a curved piece. So wool's beautiful to sew with, and you can quite manipulate it, I think. So there's that seam pressed open. We'll press it open the other direction, on the right side as well. Make sure it's open. So just pressing it open, and this iron is on the hottest heat you can get it on. I think wool has the hottest heat anyway. And now I am going to lay it flat and press it with the wooden part of the clapper so that the wood absorbs the heat and presses down at the same time. Now some people use their hands, but they must be burning themselves. So now you can see that that's the pocket, but it's not pressed along there. And I really would like it to be pressed along there. But I don't want to leave the imprint over here of the pocket in the bottom part of this jacket. So I'm just going to press it, or try and press it, just along this edge and not press this bottom part, because I don't want the imprint to come out on the outside showing where the pocket bag is. Now if it did come onto the outside, you could always just flip that pocket up and give this a press. If you gave that a press, it would take the imprint out. And so there is one front. I've done the other front, and I'll be back to show you the back. And so now I've just sewn the sleeve seam together, and I've got it open on my little sleeve board, giving it a press, pressing it open, and now using a clapper to press that seam down. And now what you want to do is let that cool. I guess it's the same as using a hair straightener, a hair curler, or how you let your hair cool before you touch it with a brush or a comb or anything like that, so that it stays the way you wanted it to stay. Now this sleeve is cool, I'll turn it out the right way and we'll give it another press on the outside, using exactly the same method. Using the organza cloth so you don't ever burn the wool. Putting plenty of steam into it and pressing down with our clapper. And now letting it cool. And you can see what a great result that type of pressing gives you. So now I've got the sleeve cuffs that I'm pressing. And these are a little bit bulkier than the sleeves because they also have interfacing on them. Piece of thread is. And so I'm just going to leave this wooden clapper on it until it cools itself. So now I've turned these cuffs out the right way and are just pressing down on them. And we'll also leave this to cool on my mini ironing board. Now we're going to be doing the back. I've already pressed one side of the back. So this teal coloured piece is called the centre back and the pink pieces are called the side back. And so that's the actual shape, sort of looks a bit bat-wingish. And one of these seams is very, very curved. And so what you can see is this is quite curved down in the bottom section. And here's one that I've pressed. And you do have to clip these curves. So I will attempt to show you. the clipping of the curves. Now when you clip curves, and it's quite so one's convex and one's concave, you need to cut pieces out of one and only allow one to splay. So we can already see, if we were to open this up and turn it back, the teal coloured side would be okay. We could just clip that, but the pink side is trying to overlap itself and is going to get a little gathering spot. So I'll be clipping this section separately, the pink section separate to the teal coloured section, because we need to cut the little triangles out of the pink section so that it lays really flat. So here, just trying to make sure it's in view. Here, I'm going to start clipping it up here where it's basically quite flat. I'll just be clipping it open, and I'm clipping it together at the moment, because when I press that, it will press flat and open. And now when we're down to this quite curved section, because the teal one wants to splay outwards, I'm just going to be cutting it separately over where I can always see the seam. And the teal section's going to splay apart when it gets pressed, so it doesn't need any of its little sections taken out. Whereas the pink side is going to try and overlap itself. So we can already see that on the teal side, that is splaying open, and on the pink side, it will try and overlap itself. So I'm just going to cut out some little triangles. So that it doesn't make any more bulk than you would want it to have. It's quite a, I wouldn't say boil wool's a heavy fabric, but it can look bulky. It's actually quite lightweight physically, but it can look bulky because it doesn't stay pressed really, really flat like other fabrics do. So now I've thrown all those all over the floor. So you can see how I've cut out the little sections there. And now when we press it, using the ham once again, because it is on a curved piece, I'm just curling it over to try and get the right curve. First of all, pressing it down with my fingers so that when I put the cloth on it, it's going to stay on the side that I want it to be on. So just carefully, section by section, and this is how you'll get a great finish. And see that's pressing open there. I'm just pressing the very last part of the curved edge of the back on the right side of the fabric. And I do use my clapper on my ham, probably why my ham is looking a bit flat. And this will just give us a much better finish. And as you can see, this is all perfectly pressed on the inside. Hopefully I've got no little pieces sticking out. And you can see the pink edge has had pieces clipped out of it, whereas the teal side hasn't had to. It just opens up by itself. And that's the result on the right side. So a really good pressing. Now we're going to be sewing the back to the fronts at the shoulders and the side seams and putting the sleeves in. Now I thought I'd just show you where these two sections of the coat meet. I'm just pinning the side seams at the moment, so the colour changes from the pink to the teal, and so I get that join perfect, because on the outside I do not want to be able to see a step where the two colours meet. When it goes around the curve, it needs to stay the same colour all of the time. I use these pins, and they're called clover pins, and they're like a fork. And so I'll also use them where two shoulder seams meet, or where four pieces of fabric meet, so that they always get that perfect finish. And you can sew over these. I'm not a person that sews over pins very often, and I will be changing thread in this coat to get the correct colour. And I'm also testing that this is in the absolute correct place. I've put a pin through one side and it's come out the other side exactly in the seam. Now I've finished sewing up the shoulder seams and the side seams, and I just wanted to show you the result of using the clover pins. So I think they're called clover fork pins, and I'll just show you. Now this is the side seam, where the side seam meets, and you can see how perfect that join is. So that is a perfect square. It's got two seams, so it's got the vertical seam that is the side seam, and the horizontal seam, which is the upper joining to the lower, and it really, those pins give you a fantastic result. So I would highly recommend it. They are called clover fork pins, and they are very sharp, so be very careful if you buy any. But I only use them for shoulder seams where I'm trying to get two different seams to join together in, actually most of the time in a four-way meet like that is. I just wanted to show you what sort of great result you can get from using good tools. Okay, I've finished the outer coat. Here it is here. It does have pins in the facings. And there is one thing that I didn't do. You had to understitch the neck facing, but I didn't want to understitch it on the pink part because I thought you might be able to see that, because you can wear it open with your lapels back a bit. So I didn't understitch that part. I only understitched the center facing rather than the turn back facing. I'll put it on and show you how it looks. Remembering the size I made is size 6. That is how large this coat / jacket is. And I chose a size 6 because of how large people said it was. So, hi now I'm back and I've finished my Nova coat. It's the next day, and today I'm wearing the Aberdeen top by Seamworks, and this is actually a Jocelyn Proust fabric from Spotlight. It's a rayon spandex and it's really quite a clingy fabric. I'll just try on the coat and you can see the beautiful lining. Coat actually came together very easily. Okay, so you can see it's really quite oversized. I did make a size 6 when normally I'd make a size 12 or 14 Australian. And so it really is quite bat-wingy and quite big, but I knew about sizing down from other blogs and instructions and reviews that I'd read on it. All the seams meeting up perfectly. I have pressed the living daylights out of this fabric and I'm actually really pleased with the outcome. It will be a very warm coat and it's got fabulous pockets. We all love a pocket. So that's all for me about the Nova coat. I did sew labels into the jacket. As you can see, I sewed in a DB Designs label, and the little label that I got from Kristen from the Dahlia Society in my bespoke box the other day, that label there, which says slow fashion ethically made. So I thought that was a really cute way to put that label in, to stitch it in just under the other label. Most of my clothes are labelled and I have all different labels, all different names, and I've been labelling clothes for a few years now. So next time, hopefully I'll get to show you around my sewing room with a sewing room tour. Just before I forget, if you're looking for some fabric, go on to Kristen's site, the Dahlia Society, and have a look. She's got some beautiful new fabrics in. I just did an order this morning and all of her fabrics sell out so quickly, and she's got some beautiful buttons there. So make sure you check that out. See you next time.